day, sir.
Good evening. Thank God. We are still in
Just that
traffic.
doing fine.
We are still in traffic, but we have to get things going.
Yeah, Lagos life.
Seriously.
Yeah, God is your affairs. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, so not to take much of our time. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of Business Data Laboratory Limited workshop on data analytics with Python. So as we did yesterday, we created a notebook. So today we're going to be creating another notebook too for tonight's class. So those as we did yesterday, we'll be moving into data analytics with Python day 2. Okay, we've successfully named it. So yesterday we introduced ourselves to Python, what Python is, why it is one of the most sought after skills in the tech world today. Then we also discussed how to install Python in several ways. Then some other alternatives you can use aside from Jupyter Notebooks, which is commonly used. Then Mr. Adedamola, have you been able to install Jupyter Notebooks?
Yes. I installed it on Dali and Akonda. I've seen it and I've installed it on
That's
myself.
interesting. Miss Beninda, you're welcome. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma.
Yeah, I trust I didn't good. I didn't fine.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Have you been able to go through the class we had yesterday?
Go through it. Not really.
Yeah. Okay. I really hope you can do that before tomorrow. So if you have any problems somewhere, you can discuss and we answer it together in class tonight.
Okay, ma. I will.
Okay. So tonight we're going to be moving on to data types. So we'll be looking at the Python data types. Yesterday we looked at Python variables and comments and how to assign values to variables. So tonight we're going to be moving on to Python data types. So as we said earlier, let's use our markdown to name this our new sheet, like to name this title Python data types. Then clicking on B to go to a new cell as we did yesterday. So what are Python data types? In Python, we have various data types, but the ones we're going to be focusing on tonight are string, int, floats, list, tuple, range, and dictionary. Then we also have some other like sets and boolean. So we're going to be looking at them one after the other. So data types basically are the different ways in which a variable stores data. Yesterday, from the examples we had yesterday, we had the values being assigned to some variables. Some values were of integer data type that were number, and some were string, character in words. Then we had some also in alphanumeric, which are also in string. So let's look at the various data types we have, their characteristics, and how to handle them. So let's define them. First one is so data types are the different ways in which a variable stores data. In Python, there are several data types. Some of which are in Python, we have several data types as I was explaining earlier. Some of them are you have string, integer, which is usually denoted as int. Then we have floats, then lists, there's tuple2, range, sets, boolean, dictionary. So all of these are several data types that are common in Python. Let me sorry. Mhm. So interesting. We have string, integer, floats, list, tuple, range, set, boolean, dictionary. So these are various data types that are in Python. So the first one, let's take the first one. That's what string. First one is string. So what are string? String data type is this type of data types that has its values in text formats, purely text, then and are usually surrounded by either single or double quotation marks. Once you see any value being assigned to a variable and the value is in quotes, either single quotes or double quotation marks, then you should understand that such value is of string data type. Example is, let's look at it. Well, first, let's define it. So that's that. This is a This data type stores values as text and is usually surrounded by either single or double quotation marks. By either single or double quotation marks. Example is this. When you have your value, say your variable is G. Okay, let's say variable G equals to, and I have my, remember it should be in text. Then text, okay, let me say, okay, Vivian. Of course, I've put Vivian in double quotation marks. Or let's say H, variable H equals to, that single quotation mark this time around, equals to Tyler. Right? See? So let's, okay. So when I ask for the data type of each of them, see it bring it out as print type G. And you see class string. str denotes string. That tells us that variable G, which has the value Vivian in text, is of data type string. Hope you're following. And as well, if we should ask for the data type of variable H, same thing. That's its data type as string. str denotes string, remember? So both variable G having value as Vivian and variable H having its value as Tyler are both of string data types. Why? Because number one, they have the values are in text. The number two, which is most important, is because the values are in quotation marks. Either you use the single quotation marks or you use the double quotation marks. So then let's look at this variable W. W equals to quotation marks 98. So let's print type of variable W is. Can you see? Even though 98 would be a number, but since it's presented in such a format like it has it's into double quotation marks, Python will regard variable W as a string data type variable. It will see it as a string variable. So if you want to change your integer to string, what you just need to do is put it into quotation marks. That way to understand it as only text. So anything Python sees in quotation marks, either be it numeric, be it alphabet, Python assumes it's of string data type. So you have to be very careful not to make the mistake of assigning an integer value into quotation marks, because Python will regard it as string and not integer. So let's look at how we can assign a single line string. Assigning a single line string is what we've been doing earlier. Just like, okay, let me say variable name equals to Sam. This is single line. So as we said yesterday, we said if you want to comment it, part of the functions of comment is what? To explain our code. So this is single line string, single line string. Then the double multi-line, in case your string has, string, especially you said it's of text format. So in case it's a sentence or sentences or phrases, or even say a passage that I want to assign to a variable, it's not going to be easy having it on a single line. So in that case, you may want to have it on multiple lines. So what we do so let's the variable name be statement equals to. So instead of having it in double quotation marks, just like that, we have it in 3 full quotation marks. This way, 1, 2, 3. So then I put my sentence. Man is around. He went out again. You see him, and lots more as you would like to have it. So all of this is single data type and just one variable. So let's print out the variable type of data type of each of these variables. So print type name, variable name, add string. Why? Because it's in quotation marks. Then print type variable statement. Then see it also is a string of string data type. So in case you'd like to check for the length of characters you have in your string, use the len function. Len, this function is used to check for the number of characters included in your variable. So for variable name, if I'm interested in knowing how many characters does variable name have, I just do len into brackets name. Just put my name there. And it says it has 3 characters and has S, which is 1, A 2, M 3. So let's check for the number of characters included in variable statement 2. That's length of statement. It says it has 60 characters. So you should sit down and start counting them one by one, and all the spaces should be up to 60. So please let's note these down because they are also very important. Once in a while, you have to use them during your analysis. So they are very equally important. Then you can access a number of, when you have let's say you want to index, we call it index. I want to check for the so if you want to check for the sorry for that, I was muted again. So if you want to check for the particular character at a particular position in your variable name, so we call that index. So if you want to index a variable of data type string, use, let's say we have variable b equals to, remember our quotation mark, hi mom, hi mom, is dad around? So this is my variable b. So if I'm interested in knowing, okay, the values at positions 5 to 9 in the variable name b, just I'll use this square bracket. Square bracket is usually used for indexing. Remember what I said about indexing earlier? To know this particular character or value at a particular position. And that position is going to be the number you put into this square bracket. So say for positions 5 to 9. So 5 to 9, we have M, comma. That's M will be 5, 6, 7, 8. But at position 5 is M, this last M here. Position 6 is comma. Position 7 is space here. Position 7 is space here, and position 8 is I. So it stops at that. It gives us 5, 6, 7, 8. If I'm interested in having that of position 10, I'll include 9, I'll include 10 too. So let's say I'm interested in knowing a particular character in position 1. That's I. Remember, okay, I forgot to say this. The indexing in Python starts from 0. The first character, the first value is regarded as 0 and not 1. So it's 0, 1. So ideally it's 1, 2, right? But in Python sees the first value, the first character as 0. So to index the first character, it's 0. The second one is 1. So when I say 1, it's the I from high. But when I say 0, let's say, let me index that of 0 too. Brings to be. That's H. It brings out H. So that's one of those things. Then to check if a particular character or phrase is in a string, use the keyword in. Let's comment it out to check if a particular character or phrase is in a string. Use the keyword. Remember keyword yesterday, we talked about keyword when we talked about rules in naming variables in Python. We said you can't use a keyword as a variable name in Python. Let's make it better. So example. Let's have the variable name sentence. Sentence equals to, so triple quotation 1, 2, 3. So from this sentence, okay, Nigeria is an African country. There is an African country. It is regarded as the giant of Africa. So this is variable sentence having these strings. Nigeria is an African country. It is regarded as the giant of Africa. Okay. Okay, in case I would like to know if a particular character is in this string, this variable sentence, what I'll do is I'll use the in keyword. So let's check let's check for regarded. So the string comes first, regarded in variable sentence. Okay, you didn't run this code earlier. Okay. Yes. So it says true. True means yes, that actually regarded is found in the sentence variable. So now let's look for one. Okay, we do not have rights here, right? So let me check if the word rights, RIGHT, is also amidst the strings in sentence, in variable sentence. So type it that way. Then run the code. It says false, that no, that in the actual sense that this word here is not included in this variable. So that's a short way of searching for if you have some string, some particular string, or I mean character or phrase in a multi-line string, or even if it's just a single line string too. So when we talked about indexing earlier, we're using positive. Now let's look at a case where we use negative to index. Okay, let me index from variable sentence this time around. So variable sentence. Remember, you use the square brackets for referencing and for indexing. I say -2. With I. So what that does is when you're indexing a string with a negative value, it picks a character starting from the right and counting from 1 instead of 0. So that's how we have our I here. So starting from right, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then from right instead of that's how we got our I. So now let's move on to numeric data type. Seeing what string data types entail, the meaning, how to identify it, what makes it a string data type. I mean, by having the values in quotation mark, either single or double quotation marks, and how to search for a particular character in a string, and as well how to index a string. So now let's move on to numeric types. Among the data types included in Python. So I'll change this to Markdown. So what are the numeric data types included in Python? In Python, we have 3 numeric types. We have ints, like integer, float, and complex. But for tonight, I'll just be focusing on integer and float. So what are they? Okay, let's type them down. In Python, we have 3 numeric types, namely ints, floats, complex. So but for tonight, we're going to just be looking at integer and float. Integer is denoted by int, int, then float. So what are integer? Integers are whole numbers, either they are positive or negative, without decimal points. Once you say any whole number that doesn't have any decimal point, such number is regarded as integer. While the opposite is, okay, when we have numbers with decimals, either positive or negative, such type of number is regarded as floats. So for floats data types have decimal, they have decimal numbers, while they have decimal points, while integers do not have decimals. So this is that it's so for ints, integers are whole numbers either positive or negative. Or negative without decimal points. Without decimal points. An example of such, let's look at an example of such. We have say variable B equals to 50 and 67. So let's check for the type of variable, the data type of variable B. So we use the type function, remember. So when it's in class integer, it says its data type is of class integer. And that is because it's not in quotation marks. Remember, once you put it in this 67 into quotation marks, it will stop regarding it as an integer, but rather as a text.
Recording in progress.
As the text. So let's look at, okay, float too. So for floats are numbers with decimal, are numbers with decimal points. Decimal points, either positive or negative. Either positive or negative. So an example of such variable f equals to 4.5. So we print the data type of variable f. Can you see? It says it's a float data type. So then let's look at an instance. Okay, here we have, for integer, we have variable p as 67. So let's look at what the difference is between variable 67 and variable p being 67 and another variable, which is, okay, let's say variable j, which is 67.0. Now, usually you feel, okay, of course they have the same value, that they should be the same thing. So let's confirm if actually they have the same data type. I bet no. Print type J. Hence, it says it of floats data type. So why? That's because it has a decimal point. Even though 0 is coming after it, so far it has a decimal point, it will be regarded as floats. But if it doesn't, it will be rather regarded as integer. Then there are some cases where you want to get the integer part of a float variable. Let's have a variable of okay, variable u equals to 78.9. So if I should say int, or it will just give me the, if I should ask for the integer part, it will just give me 78, and that's the integer part. You know, usually you feel like, oh, 78.9, to just round it up to 79. No, it will just give me that exact value, and that's 78. That's all it will give me. So that's that about numeric types. We have integers which do not have decimal points, and we have as well floats which have decimal points. So now let's move on. And before we go, we can as well change a variable from one data type to another, like change from int to floats, then from floats to int as well. Okay, let's look at an example. Okay, from here we have f as a float data type, right? So if we say, okay, variable h equals to int, okay, yes, int of variable f. Then I say, okay, print data type of h. It says it's now in integer format. Then if I should print, and it's not just in integer formats, that's okay. Let me print out h itself so we can see the new value h has. Remember, h is from f is 4.5. So here it says integer part of f, which is 4. That's without decimal points. So that's why it prints it out here as 4 alone. So let's look at an example where float is also changed to integer. No, integer is changed to float. So variable y equals to float of variable p. Variable p here is of integer. So let's turn into float of p. So I'll first print out p, then print out the data type of variable. No, I'll print out y, remember. So it just had 0 to it. 0.0, that's 67.0, that's new value. So this is used to change it from integer data type to float data type. And this is it here, indicates that it is of data type of float. So that's that. Let's move on to another data type. Let's look at Boolean values. Boolean. So when you hear Boolean, what should come to your mind is true or false. Boolean just accept just two values. That one was 0, true or false, just true. So any expression expression that returns true or false. is regarded as a Boolean expression. So let's look at examples where we can have an expression. When you say, okay, print hot weather 87 is greater than 56. So this expression here, this whole expression of print 87 greater than 56, this one here is a Boolean expression. So it's to give us either it's true or false. Either it's true or false. So then another example that we can have is so let's check for this the type of this expression here to confirm print into bracket 87 greater than 56. Yes. Oh yes, so this non-type, which is that of yeah. So let's use this. So let's look at you've seen that of comparing using integer and numeric values. Let's look at that of string values. So when I say cat, so I want to ask if cat is the same thing as dog. Says no, false. False means no, of course. So that means the string, this value and variable cat is not the same thing as dog. It's not the same thing. It's wrong. It's not the same thing. So let's look at another example where we have okay. P goes to let's ask if these two are the same thing. It says no, false. So remember yesterday, he said Python variables are case sensitive. So it says double small lowercase k has been different from uppercase k. So it will say it's false that they are not the same thing. To say they are not the same thing. So moving on. Let's look at some Python operators. Operators included in Python. Python operators. So Python has a lot of operators. But first, what are operators? Operators are used for performing operations between variables and values. They are used for performing operations. And that is, it may be directly between one or two values or between variables. Between one or more values or one or more variables. So let's define operators. Operators are used for performing operations between variables and between values. Between values. So let's look at some of the operators we have in Python. One of the first one of them, okay, you have the arithmetic operator. We have the logical operator. We have assignments, comparison, identity, logical, membership bitwise. So these are some of the operators included in Python. You see, all these things are very important. You have to know them so you know how to handle them. We have assignments, operators. But for tonight, I'm going to be looking at just 4 of them. Comparison operators. Logical operators. Logical operators. Identity operators. And so on. And so on. So the first one, arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are usually used for performing mathematical operation, multiplication. So useful. So these are used for mathematical operations. Mathematical operations. Example, let's look at some of it. The example. Let's say variable. Okay, let's say variable y equals to 8 plus 9. Y equals, when you print y, it gives you 17. So these operators, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, they are the ones referred to as arithmetic operators. So let's say PE equals to 67 multiplied by, so multiplication is asterisk in Python. Multiplication is asterisk in Python. So 67 times 32. So when you print out variable P, which has 67 times 32, it gives you the value, which is 2144. So another variable, let's have variable L equals to, let's look at that of subtraction, 34 minus 12. So when you print out, that gives us 22, which is the result of 34 minus 12. So then, okay, for division, use this symbol. So for variable GK equals to 33 divided by 11. So when you print out GK, that's 3.0. So this one, when you use this symbol, this true symbol, it just brings the value out in floats data type, or if you want to have it in integer data type, you use it twice. So that's going to be 33 double stroke divided by 11. So when you print it out, so it brings the value out as integer. And you see there is no decimal point there. So then when you want to raise to power 2, we need to have an exponential. Okay. So let's say variable ty equals to, we want to look at, okay, 3 raised to the power of 4. Or just, it's going to be double asterisk. This means 3 raised to the power of 4. So when you print out ty, you have it as 81. Ty brings it out as 81. Then if you want to look for modular division too, the mod equals to 44 percentage. So you use the percentage sign. 44 divided by 22 and 21. So look for the remainder that we should get after dividing 44 by 21. That's 2. So that's the remainder that we will get. So 44 modulo 21 is 2. So that's that for arithmetic operators. So let's look at Python assignment operators too. Assignment operators. So Python assignment operators are used to assign values to variables. They are mainly used for assigning values to variables. So for addition, so these are used mainly for assigning values to variables. So the commonly used one is equals to sign, which is what we used yesterday throughout. So let's say I want to assign value 34 to variable k. So just I'll use the equals to sign. So this equals to sign here is regarded as an assignment operator. 567. So it is for assigning 567 as value to variable k. And another style that you can see is say, okay, when you have k equals to k plus 3. You know, here it says k equals to, that means it's going to overwrite the first k, which is 567, and have it as 567 plus 3. So let's print out the newest value included in k. So you see at 570, so it has overwritten the previous one, which was 567. So then this style of doing it as k equals to k plus 3, you can as well have it this way as k plus equals to 3. K plus equals to 3. What Python sees this as is k equals to k plus 3. So when you print out k here, let's print the latest value of it. That's 573. So it has just done it. I assume it is added the second value here, which is 570 to 3, and have it here as 573. So you can as well have the subtraction one too this way. So let's say my variable s equals to 23. So say s equals to 23. S equals to s minus 2. So s minus equals to 11. Okay, wait, let me add SI. SI. So when I print out the newest value of S variable SI, it gives it as okay. There's a mistake here. Sorry, I'm coming. It's okay. Can you see it's using it SI? So this was so SI equals to 23. So SI equals to SI minus 2. So it prints it out as 21, which is actually the value. So then if I want to use the style I use earlier for K here, so that's going to be minus equals to 11. Remember, this means SI equals to SI minus 11. So let's print out the newest value of SI and see what we have. We have it as 10. So the newest value is, okay, the first time it was 23, it got reduced to 21, then now to 10. So you can use this style too for multiplication and as well for division. So multiplication, let's have our variable as variable Z. So Z equals to 34. So if I want to have it as Z equals to Z times 2, and print my Z. I can have it this way, and as well, I can do it this way. Z multiply location, which is the asterisk symbol, times 11. So then split the newest value of Z, and that's 748. So can use this style as well for division. So for division, let's have it as variable RT equals to 220. So RT divided. So when I want to have RT equals to RT divided by 10, I print my RT variable. As 22. Remember, let's say you were interested in having it as an integer, have this stroke doubled, but that's not what we're concerned with. So RT divided equals to 2. So print out the newest value of RT, and that's 11. Remember, 22 divided by 2 will give you 11. Miss Benita, are you following me? Mr. Adedamola Additional, are you also following me?
Yes, I am.
That's interesting. So let's move on. Let's look at comparison
Yes.
operators. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Comparison operators. Comparison operators. So for comparison, I use, just as the name implies, they are used for comparing two values. These are used for comparing two values. So they usually return Boolean value. You know, when you're comparing two things, either you want, of course, you want to know, okay, which one is, okay, let's say which one is equal, are they equal? And the answer you want to hear is either you hear yes or no. Is this greater than that? Okay, the answer you're also interested in hearing is either yes or no. So that, and remember our Boolean data type, that it's either yes or no, true or false. So when you're using comparison operators, the values you get are Boolean values. So let's look at some examples. So in case we would like to, okay, let's have variable A equals to 34 multiplied by 76, and variable B equals to 87 divided by 21. So this is a calculation. Then of course you don't have time and you want to compare. Are they really equal? Is A equals to B? So what you just do is you use the comparison operator. So let's print this out. The comparison operator for checking if it's equal to, the equal operator is equals to 2 times. So it says false, that they are actually not equal. Okay, then maybe you're also interested in knowing which one is greater. Okay, so you check, is B greater than A? It says false, and automatically A is greater than B. You can also, let's confirm that A is greater than B. So true. That means this value here is greater than this value here. Then another operator we've looked at equal operator, greater than operator. Okay, we've looked at 2 greater than operator. Let's look at less than operator. Is 90 less than 89? That's false. So this is an example of having a less than operator. So we also have greater than or equal to operator, then less than or equal to operator. So in case you want to check if print A is greater than or equal to B. True. So you asking, is A greater than or equal to B? So it says yes, because remember here, it says that A is actually greater than B. So it's true. So it wants to confirm either of the two, that is A greater than or equal to B. So if either of those 2 conditions is right, it sees it as true. And if either is wrong, it sees that wrong, as false. So let's look at less than or equal to operator. A less than or equal to 234. False. So that means 234 here. That means A is, yes, this means that A is not less than, then it's not equal to 234, which means A is actually greater than 234. Remember, you won't say A is equal to or greater than. This will tell you that A is greater than 234. So then to check if not, the not equal to operator is exclamation mark, then equals to. So when you have an exclamation mark, then equal to, that's to test for not equal to. So this is saying, is 34 not equals to 23? This is actually correct. It says true. Yes, they are different. They are not the same thing. 34 is different from 23. But look at this example. Is 5.0 not equal to 5? It says false, which means 5.0 is actually equal to 5. They have the same value. This is 5 and this is 5, just that they have different data types. This one is in floats, while this one is integer. So let's look at logical operators too. Logical operators. So for logical operator, let's take 2 examples. So we have the AND operator, the OR operator, then the NOT operator. Logical operators are actually used to combine conditional statements. Like this, okay. They are used for combining conditional statements. There is for combining conditional statements. So we have the and. Let's look at the and operator. Let me comment this out. And operator. So for and operator, I want to okay, x is less than 9 and x is greater than 9. Oh, sorry, I've not defined x. But this is an example of an and operator. Okay, let me use a. So this will say no. This says a is not less than 9 and at the same time being greater than 9. So false. Remember the and operator, you can still remember the and operator is using and means multiplication. So this, since this is negative and this is positive, the left hand side which says a is less than 9. Remember a is 34 times 76. This says false, that's no, and false and true because 34 times 76 is actually greater than 9. When you concatenate both using and will say false because negative and positive will give you negative, remember. So for the or operator, you use the same this thing. Let's look at it's an or operator. A is less than 9 or A is greater than 9. This will bring out true. So our operator just wants to know if at least one of them is true. So if it has that is A less than 9, no. Or is it greater than 9? Yes. So it takes yes. So or is seen as plus. So now let's look at the not operator. Not operator. For the not operator, we have not is A less than 98. True. So not says to do the opposite. A is less than 98. No. So this expression in the bracket is false. So not or false will give you what's true because the opposite of false is true. So that's why we have this value as true here. So these are the 4 operators we want to look at tonight. So now let's move on to list data type. So lists. So for lists are data structures. These are data structures which are mutable or changeable and contains sequence of elements. So these are lists. They are data structures that are mutable or changeable and contain sequence of elements. There's some things to note about lists is that an item in a list can be duplicated. Then lists can be used to store different data types. Then lists are created using square brackets. And as well, lists are ordered. That is, items have a defined order that cannot be changed when it comes to list. So let's create a list. Our list will be, let's have our list as countries. Okay, yes. Countries. So for countries, remember, lists are created using square brackets. So I have my square brackets. So for countries, I have Kenya. I have to put it in quotation marks, Kenya, Angola, England, Egypt, okay, Nigeria, okay. Then these ones are of string data type. So remember we said earlier that lists can as well contain different data types. So you can add floats, you can add string, have everything in just one list. So let's have number 67, 70, 789. Then let's have floats to 2.4. Then let's have boolean 2, true. So when you print out our list, which is countries, you have this way. So it prints it out. Then we can have one value being double 2. Let's have 2 times. So it can be duplicated. So I have 2 in 2 places here. So when okay, it doesn't make any error. So that's list for you. Then when it comes to indexing items in lists, remember the last time we indexed was when we this indexing for characters in a string. So now let's index values in a list. So for indexing, remember use the brackets, the square bracket. So, and we said earlier too that when you want to index in Python, the first item is 0. So when I say country 0, that's Kenya. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that means I have 11 items in the countries list. So as I'm interested in having the first 3 values, so that would be 0 to 0 to 2. Okay, no, 0 to 3. It will not give me the last one. So it will give me 0, 1, 2. So this is 0. Kenya is 0. Angola is 2. Then Angola is Kenya is the first. Angola is the second. Then England is the third. So this one has this value of 0, 1, then 2. Then another example that we can have, we can as well change. Remember, we said earlier that they are mutable. Mutable, I mean, changeable means when you say something is mutable, that means you can mutate it, you can change it, you can assign another value to it, even while still being there. So for the countries, the first value in countries is 0, Kenya, right? So if I want to change Kenya to, okay, let me say, okay, let's change Kenya to Ghana. So it has changed it to Ghana. So when I print out countries list now, you see that the first value here, which was Kenya, has been changed to Ghana. So now I have it as Ghana instead of Kenya. So you can change values, items in a list. Then as well, you can check for the length of items in a list. So using the length function to len. So when I say length of countries, it gives me 11, remember? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So when you count this one through, it's 11. So it tells me that the number of items I have in the list countries list is 11. Then here too, you'll be able to see that list has different data types. That's integer, strings, floats, then boolean. Then let's check for the data type of country here to even be sure if truly it's a list. So type of countries. It says it's a list. Can we see? So it's a list. It's a type. So in case you want to as well index Okay, let's index the first item in countries. That's 0, right? And that's Ghana. So if you want to as well index the first letter here, or say I want to index out age. So that's going to be countries 0, then 2. 8 is as the 0, 1, so that's 1. So this is indexing and indexing. So that's that. So now let's go on to move on to tuples. 1, 2, 3. So I have tuples. So what are tuples? They are used to store variables of various data types. Tuples are data structures. Okay, let me say are immutable. By immutable, I mean they cannot be changed. Data structures that can contain that can contain variables of various data types. Can contain variables of various data types. So that's the first one. So remember earlier, we said list are data structures that are mutable. That means you can change an item in a list, but you can't change an item in a tuple. And meanwhile, this item I created using square brackets. For suppose they are created using round brackets. And it as well allows duplicate values. Oh, sorry. Not invite not done. So let's say tuple. Let's create a tuple here. And that's going to be okay. As it have it as okay. X equals to, remember, round brackets, list square brackets. Suppose sorry for that. Round brackets. So it can contain various variables of various data types. So let's have two string. Nice. Get. Let's have integer. Let's have floats. Let's have boolean. So then it can have duplicate values too. So we can have 23 again. So print x. So then when I say print it, it's type of x. It says it's of class tuple. So now let's see if it's possible to change. Let's see when we try to change a value in this thing, see how it does. So let's reference, okay, let's index, okay, x. So for indexing in tuple to use square brackets, so this one gives me get. Remember, this is going to be 0 being the first element, and this will be 1. So let's see if it's possible to change the first one to something else. It brings out error. Can you see? Tuple object does not support item assignments. So I can't change it. But earlier, I remember I changed list from the first value being Kenya to Ghana. But other tuples, I can't do that. It's not allowed. So they are not changeable. So therefore, tuples, then if you are well interested in knowing the number of items included, Just use the len function, the length function. That tells you that you have 6 items in the X tuple. So moving on to another one, which is sets. Let's look at sets. Sets. So what are sets? Sets are used to store, they are used to store multiple items in a single variable. They are unordered. Then for sets, sets doesn't allow for duplicates. Then you can change items in a set too. Meanwhile, though you can add or remove items, but you can't change it. Then sets are written using curly brackets. So let's look at an example of sets. So let's say sets, okay. Segments equals to, remember curly brackets for sets. So it's duplicates are not allowed. So let's have 34. Main leg. And let's see if I can duplicate leg once again. Then true. Then 45.09. So it brings 5 segments plus sets, which it's not supposed to allow duplicates. Have segments. I think there's another somewhere. Okay, let's come back to that. So let's index to know the, okay, let me see this stored item. So it says we cannot, it's not substitutable, which means you can't use this square bracket to get an item in set. So for this, let's delete it. Then we move to the next one. So that's how for sets. Then you can as well add a new value to it, so a new item. So for segments, you can just do segments.add. The new value is yon. Okay. So when you print out segments, you see it has added yon to the new set of values. So we have true 34 leg 45.09 yon, then mean. But remember earlier we had 2 legs. So and we said earlier that sets doesn't allow for duplicate. So it will just discard it as just 1. Then the new value being added is yon, so can add yon. Then in case you're interested in removing value 2, so dot remove. Okay, let's remove 34. So then when I print out, I see 34 is no more. I mean the items in the set segments. So that's after sets. You see now we cannot substitute it. I mean to index it using the square brackets, then you can't as well have duplicates. It doesn't allow for duplicates. Though you can change and you can't change, but you can remove and add new values. So let's go to the last item for tonight, which is dictionary. So dictionary. So for a dictionary, what are dictionaries in Python? Let's say Python is a dictionary. Dictionary stores data values in key value pairs. They are changeable, but does not allow duplicates. Dictionary stores data in key value. So when we say key value, so you have key, then you have the value. Yes. Key value pairs. So then for that, let's look at an example of variable of dictionary. So new dictionary, new dict equals to, and it's also created using curly brackets too. So let's say name equals to Atenda, comma. Okay, no, it's not equals to name double colon Atenda. So class, what class is Atenda in? So class JSS3. Then sex as male. Then age that's 13. Invalid syntax. Again. Oh, that's because and you see for each one you have to use the when you're done with one key value pair, this is a pair, this is another one, this is another. So you use comma sign to differentiate them, to separate them. So let's print out new this. So you have the name as Atana, the class to be JSS3, the sex to be male, then the age to be 13. But in case I made an error and a mistake, let's say the age is 10 instead of 13 that we have it here. So I can change it since the dictionary allows for change. So new dict as age, right? So new dict age equals to 10. So I've successfully changed it. So when I print it out again, you see that the age is now 10 instead of 13. So you can change values in dictionary, but duplicates are not allowed. So that's that for our session tonight. So with this, we've come to the end of tonight's session. Does anyone have any question?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, it seems list, tuples and sets, they are alike. except the brackets and the part of changing and adding. So if you
Yes.
have a tuple and a set, how do you change it to a list, like without changing the brackets? Like, is there a formula for changing tuples to list or sets to list without changing the brackets?
Changing set to list without changing the brackets. Changing set to list without changing the brackets. Let's look at it together.
Okay.
Without changing the brackets. Okay, list equals to. I doubt if it's possible that way. But Mr. Edward, can you answer that question? I've never even thought about that question before. G is equals to into prime brackets. So when I look at it, okay, right. Wow, it's possible. So I've successfully changed this from okay. So let me print out GH now. So this is now in this. So to change it, okay, let's say okay, for the first question you asked, you said to change which one did you ask first, please?
The tuples and sets.
Okay, to change which one to which one?
Tuples to list and sets
Okay,
to list.
so tuples to list. Let's change tuples to this. So for the tuple we have here, that's X. Can you see it? So changing tuples to list. So that's X, right? So let's say the new X. Let me name it as new X equals to. So if I should ask for the data type, print type X, type new X. That's list. Can you see? So change from tuples to list. I'll just from anyone to list, just put the name of the either the name of the tuple into okay, let's say changing tuples to list. I'll just have to put the tuple's name into a square bracket. Can you see it here? So I've been able to change it now. So if I should print out print new X, I have it as this now. But now let me look for okay. Length of new X. Can you see? It will, even though it has successfully changed it to list, but it will still see it as just one item.
Okay.
That's what is there. It's receiving it as because of this demarcation here, the round brackets here. So then for set to list, so we said set for our set that segments to list. So there's a new segment equals to segment into brackets. So when I print new segment out, then also the type of new segment. Can you see? This is it in list. That will successfully change it to list. Then let me check for the length of new segments. It's it will also be 1. So that's it.
Okay.
So is your question answered, Ms. Benita?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does Mr. Adedamola also have any question before we close it for today?
No, not at all. I'm
Okay.
enjoying the ride.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
so We're going to be drawing the curtains here tonight. So in case anyone has any question, please feel free to contact us. And please, you can also note down the question that you have against tomorrow's class.
Okay.
So thank you very much once again for joining.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Yeah,
It's
it's been
really
wonderful. Thank you.
appreciate that.
welcome.
Wonderful, nice
Okay,
person.
thank you, sir.
Hi, everyone.
Basing a call through to you now. I thought you had left.